Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eben, and welcome to this Sunday's live stream event. Happy Easter! I think it's Easter. It's first Sunday, right? It's a day where we all go and hide some eggs for some rabbits. The ancient tradition. In honor of that tradition, I think I'm going to incorporate eggs into this painting somehow. I don't know how yet. I don't know what I'm going to paint today. That all remains to be seen. Anyway, if you are just joining us for the first time, if you haven't already, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That would help me out quite a bit, and it would help the YouTube algorithm find awesome content like this stuff here, and more painting and awesome artwork to get out into the world. So thank you to those of you who are already subscribed, and go ahead and like the video too while you're at it. And alright, welcome Sabrina. Hello, happy Easter. And this is gonna be a good one. Let's come up with some ideas here. Maybe I'll just do a few quick sketches here. And you know what? I get a lot of requests for dragons and dragon stuff, and it's like I'm trying not to have that be my thing, but maybe it's too late. I don't know. It's cool. If that's my thing, that's fine. But I think we're gonna do some dragons today, or at least one. You know, maybe we can do something like a dragon guarding her eggs or something like that, or like a dragon rabbit hybrid, or like a dragon eating a rabbit and also eating some eggs. Not sure how this is all gonna work out, but you know, let's do something different. Sometimes we just dive in there and create some paint strokes, but maybe we'll start with a little sketch today and see where that gets us. So let's go over to our handy brush pack menu here. By the way, all of these brushes that I'm using in the stream today are available from the brush pack link below in that description. These are all my original brushes that I've spent a lot of time sort of honing and improving. And the cool thing about downloading the brush pack is you get access to all future updates to that pack. So this is 1.4 actually, so every month or two I'll make some tweaks and some improvements and release them out to the people who have downloaded it. So it's always improving. It's the gift that never stops giving, so to speak. Hello, welcome Clams, Cameron Clay, nice. Welcome. I don't think I've seen you here before, but I've definitely seen you and your work on the Evident platform, so that's really cool. Sabrina is requesting a fluffy dragon. It could be possible. I don't draw a lot of fluffy things. That reminds me. There's this artist. It's Julie Lafayette. She does live streams actually on Sundays as well. So you should go check her stuff out as well. I don't know. She's always talking about fluffy things, so that's kind of how it came to mind. But I'm less of a sort of fluffy kind of thing, more of like a scales and teeth person. But to each their own. And I'm just gonna start with some curves here. Maybe we can be true to the sort of I don't know. Dragons are they're like dinosaurs, right? And dinosaurs had feathers, apparently. And they only realized this after I had been drawing dinosaurs for years, and I had been hoodwinked into thinking that they were just these scaly reptile things, but I guess they all had a bunch of feathers too. So maybe we can incorporate some of that in here. I don't know. But this is as good a spot to start as any. It's just some nice flow. This is kind of let's start with like a circular composition here. We can have like maybe a mama dragon guarding her eggs here. And then maybe like one idiot who's He's gonna try to steal them down here, being small. And he has a staff. Like a staff's gonna do anything, you know? But yeah, we get some feathers in here. That'd be pretty cool. But yeah, we're gonna set something up so this is there's gonna be some tension in this scene. There's gonna be some things about to happen. We don't know what exactly, but something. I've also got some references here I can show you. I don't actually remember. I don't remember what I made this board. I don't think I even made this reference board. I found this somewhere, or someone gave it to me. I can't remember, or I downloaded it. But anyway, this is a great dragon-themed reference board here. We've got some reptiles. We've got some iguanas, some dinosaurs, and even we got some bears here. In case we want to add some bear elements to our dragon. We've got some cool head ideas here. And of course we have some great dragon paintings and sketches as well. So I'm going to pull that up over on my other monitor here, just so I can be looking at that stuff and getting some inspiration. Awesome. All right, let's keep going here. And of course, I'm just gonna, as usual, start with some loose perspective lines here, just to sort of give myself an idea of how our 3D space is going to be mapped out. And then we can go in and start to block out some shapes here. Maybe we'll have this pose looks a little bit passive. I want to have something like maybe she's kind of rearing back a little bit, like getting ready to strike here, like a snake. I've got some good snake references here. We can use those. And right now she's just kind of a triangle, but that's as good a place to start as any. And snakes do this thing where it's not like they're just raising their head. They're almost like twisting their neck a little bit, like the top of it. They're just sort of coiling up. So I kind of want to create that effect a little bit as well. It's kind of looking like definitely getting some dinosaur vibes here. I don't want to go full dinosaur here. I mean, maybe I will, but I don't know. Dragons are a bit cooler. I don't know. I don't know, guys. Dinosaurs or dragons? What do we think? But, what was I gonna... Oh, yeah. I did watch this, I watched this movie when I was a kid, and it was called Dinosaur. And it was like this animated film. It was like one of the first... I think it was Disney. That was like one of the first... it's like fully 3D animated films, or at least one of the first about dinosaurs, and probably the only 3D animated film that I know of about that had that kind of subject. But it's just there was this scene where there was this big, right at the beginning there was this giant, it wasn't a T-Rex, it was like I used to know all these names. It's like a Carnotaurus, I think, and it was charging down the charging across this field, and that scene just gave me nightmares for years. I would have these dreams. That and Jurassic Park for sure. I would have dreams every night where there was a T-Rex going around the house, it would poke its head through a window, or look down, or you'd see its eye, and you couldn't leave, and I had to like hide from it in the house. It was so bad. I don't know, man. I was like fascinated and terrified by these creatures. So, you know, just to give you a little bit of a backstory as to where this came from. I don't. And someone asked me the other day. They're like, "Why do you like dragons?" And I honestly couldn't really think of like a concrete answer. You know, it's just like it's always been there somehow. I think this... no, I think that'll be okay. Alright, let's keep going here. Yeah, we got some eggs. How big are dragon eggs? They'll probably be a little bit smaller. I want this to really create some scale here, though, too. So, it's not going to be clear so much during the sketch phase. But you know, later on, once we add some atmosphere and like adjust the colors a little bit, we can, you know, really we can create a bit more depth, a bit more scale here. I'm being real rough with it, you know. At the moment, I'm just kind of trying to map out where all these ideas are going to happen. But honestly, like, at this point, pretty much know, you know, how this is all going to work out. It's just a matter of getting those details in there and getting those colors down. So maybe we'll just kind of dive into that next. Alright, now let's create a new layer here, and let's see, oh weird, I wasn't getting a lot of the chat in my YouTube thing here. Welcome Vieira. Sounds like there's some similar experiences here. Cameron here is saying was obsessed with dragons when he was really young and was convinced they were real and hiding from people. You know what? It's totally possible. To this day, you know? So, let's not rule anything out here. Anyway, let's create a little bit of a gradient. I don't know, just some random colors here. Ooh, that would be interesting, but I'm going to go with this ambient sort of blue light here. Maybe we can have sort of a sort of an ambient blue glow like this is in a cave or something, but we'll have some kind of maybe warm light source somewhere nearby. Maybe over here on the left, actually, we could create some, I don't know what it will be, you know, at this point. It could be some fire or something, but, you know, I'm just thinking in terms of the design of this piece. We're just gonna have some nice glow over here. I don't know where that's gonna go yet, but, and then let's just kind of make a nice silhouette here. Let's get into our mixer brush here. Actually, we don't need to get into that quite yet. Let's go with our digital brush so we can just quickly sketch some of these shapes in here. Just also keeping an eye on the navigator and making sure, you know, these are good shapes, that they're reading well, that they're not messing with the composition too much. I'm sort of trying out some new things here with the wings. I just want to make sure this all looks kind of well designed. All right, let's get some general ground color in here. And then our foreground. All this stuff down here. And we'll have some kind of loose perspective stuff kind of coming in here. Just creating some flow with a lot of these lines. Maybe there's a bit of sort of misty rocks happening back here. And let's not forget these eggs. It's very important. Alright, I think this sketch layer has pretty much served its purpose. Of course, usually I would spend a bit more time working on that sketch, but you know, for a quick, you know, 2-hour piece, I'm not worried about it too much. We've got a pretty simple idea here, and a lot of our details can be sort of hashed out, you know, as we go. So there's going to be a little bit of subsurface scattering happening with this wing here, when the light is hitting it from above, and that's going to be a bit of a cool violet. You know, typically that'd be a bit more red. We can throw a little bit of red in there later, but with a cool light source, that's just going to be pushed into the violet a little bit more. And we don't want to create too much saturation, you know, up there away from our focal area, but you know, we can always go in and balance that out later. Meantime, we've got this sort of rim light hitting the edge here, and then there's let's bring that sketch up again real quick so I can real quickly map out where this lighting is. Nice. Let's flip that so we can get a little bit of perspective here. I think I might want to turn this head angle just a little bit, so it's kind of facing the camera, so we can get a really intimidating view here. So I'm actually going to use this bear reference here because that's a really good angle. Morning, Ernesto. Glad you could make it here. So I'm kind of just going in here and shaping the head a little bit differently. I want to have it turning at kind of a, not quite a 3/4 profile, but pretty close. So it's sort of facing forward, so we can really see the sort of threatening threatening expression here. And I think overall we can let's just bring up these values a little bit, just so you guys can see. Oh yeah, this is gonna be sweet. Have a little bit of just a little bit of teeth happening here, and I like this lighting scheme. This is pretty cool. Sort of understated at the moment, you know. They're like, usually I think I'll create these really dynamic kind of, you know, bright highlights and strong direct light against this cooler ambient light. But I think here it's kind of like I mean, there's definitely gonna be, I'm gonna push these highlights a little bit more, and really create some contrast around this head probably, but for the most part, I'm keeping it pretty subdued, and I'm working up from these middle values, and not overdoing it. Get a little bit of reflected light here, maybe a little bit underneath as well. Flip this. Flip my reference. I love this so far. This is kind of like one of those moments where I almost don't want to keep going, because it's just so perfect and pure. But of course, there are so many ways we can improve this piece, make it better. I think that's like an impulse a lot of I've heard a lot from students, and I've definitely experienced this myself. That sort of that moment where you're like, I don't want to keep going because I don't want to mess it up. And I definitely get that. But the fact is, you're never gonna have a completed piece of art if you can't move past that point, right? So you gotta take that leap of faith, and you're gonna make a lot of mistakes, of course. It's it's impossible not to if you really are committed. And you can create some pretty bad artwork. I've definitely created quite a bit of that myself. But that's how you learn. So don't be afraid to move past that point, and to take your good idea, make it a great idea, make it a finished painting, something you can put up on your portfolio and everything. I'm gonna sort of cue in a little bit of that ambient blue light over here. Sort of up on the top of the leg here. This is just going to help us sculpt our form a little bit, even though it's sort of in shadow. We can use that ambient light to create form within that shadow. Because even in the darkest shadow, there's still going to be a little bit of light. I mean, there's no way to not see a little bit of light in there. Ah, this is so cool. I'm gonna change the shape of the wing a little bit. Let's have it kind of coming down. So it's really like, really oppressive, like really intimidating, covering our whole field of view here, really showing the scale. And then over here, almost there, we can see a little bit of that warmer light coming through, so we can do a little bit of subsurface scattering there. Awesome. I'm really liking this composition here. There's a lot of good flow. I'm liking, we have a strong focal point. We've set up our lighting so that it's really highlighting this important area here. Even start to go in and create a few details here and there. Could even have do a little glowing eye here, just as kind of a placeholder. Nice. Looks pretty good. All right, let's keep going here. We can add a little bit of highlight over here. Maybe a touch of that over here as well. Notice I'm not zooming in too much at this point. Just sort of keeping this bird's eye view. Just flip the canvas. Can make sure these eggs are an important story element, so I want to make sure those are pretty well defined. Not necessarily the star of the show here, but rendered well enough so that we can tell what they are. This is one evil-looking dragon mama. Not evil. She's just doing what she has to keep her her little dragon babies safe. I like this. This is cool. Let's do a little bit more sculpting here with the ambient light. Definitely, you know, up along this ridge, we're gonna get some brighter areas where that sort of ambient cave color is gonna help to sculpt some of our forms here. Let's start to get into our mixer brush and do a little bit of blending. And a lot of these kind of shadowy spaces really, you know, there's kind of a temptation to go in there and create a lot of details and a lot of specificity, but often, you know, what you don't say in those areas is can be more powerful than what you do say. You know, when you leave a little bit to your viewer's imagination, can have more of a powerful effect. I can go in and start to crisp up some of these details here. We don't need them to be razor sharp, so to speak, but you know, we want to give them a bit of definition here. Awesome. Adorable, huh? Oh, cool. Sure. You can just go in and create, you know, just the suggestion of maybe a bit of a textural pattern, or, you know, some stripes or something that might be defining this area in the light. Then we can go in and maybe create some little details where those horns are, or spikes, whatever you would call them. Maybe a touch of highlight where they're really closely facing the light. I'm just sort of picking, you know, specific areas to bring up the details a little bit, but I'm not doing it everywhere. in here and do what I was talking about earlier, maybe create some little silhouettes of rocks. You can choose a lighter color, a bit more in the blue, and go back a bit further. It's not a hugely important detail, but, you know, maybe some stalagmites or tights, whichever one they are. Something like that. Nothing too distracting. But it's just a little bit of backstory, you know? We're just saying, you know, oh, this is a cave. This is underground, in case you weren't clear. That's where we're at. Let's grab our comb brush here. Maybe we can make some sort of slight indications of ground. You know, where that light's just gonna be hitting just a little bit. It's a very lateral, excuse me, lateral light source. So it's not going to be hitting everywhere, just these little bits. And I'm continuing with these perspective shapes that I set up earlier. And if you've been, you know, in my in the group mentorship, you know, or any of my private lessons I've been doing, we talk a lot about perspective shapes, you know, versus you know, I think a lot of people, if you've, I don't know if you've taken an art class or if you've just looked at some tutorials or online, you might learn a lot about 1 point or 2 point perspective, you know, and or 3 point perspective, and that's all really useful, especially, you know, when it comes to architecture and things that are really really kind of linear and you know, and straight lined objects, you know, that kind of thing. But one thing that's also really important is thinking about perspective shapes, you know, which kind of define areas that are not so linear. You know, things like just, you know, organic landscape shapes and rocks and, you know, pathways and that kind of stuff. And you know, the general principle there is like, as you know, things, you know, recede towards the horizon, they're going to sort of flatten out. And what happens during that process is, you know, this shape will kind of, you can see it sort of starts out kind of long like this, and then it'll do a little quick, it's like a Nike symbol almost, you know. So, you know, you'll see me using a lot of those kinds of shapes as I go through here and map out this landscape. Welcome, LV. I don't think I've seen you here before. And thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying this. And it sounds like Cameron's enjoying this as well. And thank you. I appreciate your astute feedback. I think, you know, part of what's really working for this color palette too is you know, it's a bit muted still. I'm not really going into anything really highly saturated. I'm probably actually, now that I say that, I'm going to take a little bit of a more saturated red so I can play up the reflected light underneath this jaw here. And I'm choosing to do that because it's a realistic possibility, but it's also going to help us highlight our focal area with a little bit of saturated color there. It's going to really draw the eye in that direction. I can actually use this brush too to create some quick little teeth there. Let's also go in and let's go back to our, you can use our pencil for this. Just kind of highlight some of this, some of these neck spikes here to create a nice sort of fractured silhouette. I'm going to go back to this bear reference again. Do a little bit of sculpting of this face. You know, some important things to note here is just, you know, some of the. Actually, I can actually bring this up here so we can check it out together. Go ahead and do Control Shift A to keep that on top. Let's go in and do a little bit of. I'm not going to zoom in too far here, but I just want to get some of these detail ideas down. There's this really nice expressiveness around the eyes. And then all these places that are sort of turning away into shadow, I'm going to use some of that muted shadow color. From the ambient light source. Let's move this eye in just a little bit. Maybe that light isn't going to quite reach over there, but we can still create a bit of shadow reflections here. Maybe that's a bit too bright. Let's take that down a notch. Anywhere where it's kind of slightly facing up. Going to be a little bit of reflected light here as well. Let's grab some of that. can go even darker. Some of these other areas. And once again, in some cases here, it's just going to be a bit more impactful when we think about the areas that we're not developing just as much, if not more, than the areas we are. You know, leaving some areas to be sort of unsaid. And then we can go in and just, you know, pick a few areas to develop up those highlights. And just make sure it looks okay from a distance. I actually think I'm gonna not build up those highlights in that way. I think we'll just keep it as it is here. Maybe do a little bit of a thin sort of rim light around here. It's really getting hit directly. Other than that, let's get really nice white there. It's hitting the teeth. That's pretty good. Let's see. Cameron's asking, am I based in the UK? Yeah, I am not. I am in the US. I live in Vermont. I'd love to be in the UK. It sounds like a fun place, but alas, I am not. Cool. I'm gonna do a little bit more of that highlight over here. Maybe a bit over here as well. Usually I kind of like that when it's sort of loose like that. We can just kind of create some lost edges like that. Really increase the focus here. Kind of almost looks like feathers, so Sabrina, you're kind of getting your wish here. Now, how are we going to sculpt the bottom here? let's use that reflected light. I almost want to bring this eye in a little bit. Let's see if we can do that. Maybe we could do like something like that. I don't know. Actually, let's go back. Is this the point where I've think I've overworked it a little bit? Let's just delete that. Look at our reference again. Let's bring this up again because I think there's some nuances in the expression that I want to capture here. Like there's this other sort of cheekbone. And eye here. And I think the light isn't really going to be reaching this far over, so we're going to use our reflected cool light to sculpt out this other eye socket. Yeah, I think that's better. We can have a little bit of maybe a little bit of a cast shadow here. It's kind of cool. By the way, I'm spending a lot of time on this area just because this is our focal area, you know. This is where we want our eyes to land, and so we want to make sure it's looking good. Don't forget the eggs. Of course I would never forget the eggs, as this is obviously an Easter-themed scene. We'll get those eggs in there. Alright. Now let's make some little eyeballs. And we can move on to some other stuff here. Oh yeah, I remember what we were doing. We were using this reflected light to sculpt our chin silhouette a little bit. Not quite that much. Let's tone that down a little bit, but something like that. Alright, let's get this bear out of here. Oh, sorry, LV, I missed your question here. Yep. Wanted to know if you took art classes before you became an amazing artist. Yeah, I took a few. I actually majored in art when I went to college. So I took a lot of took some oil painting courses, some drawing courses. I did a lot of ceramic stuff actually. I made a lot of actually my speaking of dragons here, my sort of senior project involved creating a bunch of clay dragons. I actually have one of them right here, next to my Bob Ross bobblehead here. But this is actually the smallest one, so they were they were pretty big. And I think the largest one was like 3 feet long and like 160 pounds. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. But I actually did not get into digital art so much until, actually didn't even try it at all until the year after I graduated, which was it must have been 2017. I started getting into this and sort of learning how to sort of apply those skills to, the digital medium. I didn't really consider this as a potential medium for most of my art career, so to speak, although it wasn't a career at the time, but like most of the time I spent making art. But it's proven to be pretty cool. actually kind of want to simplify some of this. Some of this area. I was looking back at my initial sort of sketch and seeing that it's a bit simpler in terms of the value structure. So anyway, let's get back to those eggs. The feature of this piece. As soon as I fix this lip here. He's got a weird, or she, I should say, has a bit of a weird expression going on here. Maybe she needs more of a chin. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Eggs. Ugh, eggs. I had eggs for breakfast today. That's a pretty Easterly thing to do. Yeah, you should give it a whirl. Sculpt a dragon. It was actually pretty. It was a process, man. It took a long time. Actually, you know what I did was, I would, if you want to try this on your own, it's a lot of fun, but you have to do it right if you're going to fire them. I constructed the whole thing out of solid clay. So do like a rough sculpt, and then I cut it apart into tiny little like 1-inch sections, and then hollowed them out. You can see the whole thing is hollow here, so you cut the whole thing into these little sections, hollow them out, and then I reassembled them together into the whole, smoothed them out, and then like let it sort of firm up a little bit, and then went in and did the detailing, you know, added little bits, sculpted away a little bits, and then I fired it, and then painted it with acrylic gesso and paint. It's a really fun process. I had a lot of fun with that project. Yeah, put a lot of hours into it. Yeah, I would love to be doing more ceramic stuff these days. There's actually a studio around here that I was kind of looking into joining earlier on last year, you know, before the pandemic and everything, but it's just not really a good time to join. And, you know, even before that, I just don't really have much time to devote to that, you know. This is my artistic medium for now. And you need this whole studio space, you know, you need access to a kiln, and ultimately you're just kind of left with these really heavy, sort of cumbersome products that, I don't know, you know, I never sold any, just because, like, you know, I kind of wanted to price them according to the time I put into them, which is, you know, insane. And of course nobody would really spend that much. So yeah, I just kind of still have them. I've given a couple of them away to people, but you know, for the most part, it's not like it wasn't like a good business idea, but it was a lot of fun. You know, the digital artwork is definitely more translatable to business and to forming a business out of your artwork. Because you can really do it from anywhere, and have clients all around the world, which is really cool, and I've really been enjoying that. Yes, Vera, you were totally right. Yeah, you have to use the score and slip method when reassembling to eliminate those holes. I actually did not have. I created 6 of them, and I did not have any of them crack or explode, which was a miracle. But yeah, it was. It's not the smartest thing too, because you could spend. And I didn't want to mess with glazes or anything too, because that could have gone horribly wrong. But yeah, I put upwards of 160, 175 hours into some of the bigger ones, and it could have all sort of crashed and burned when I fired them. But it didn't. It was a good project. Yeah, a lot of fun. Highly recommend. And create a little bit of texture up here so it doesn't look quite so smoothed out, Same over here. Doing that on the face as well, just going across, and I don't know, it doesn't have to be too specific. I just want to create a little bit of texture there. Made him look a little off center there. Let's try this. That's pretty good. Do a little bit on the eggs here. Just a little bit of texturing. Always looks nice. Probably start developing some of these other areas a little bit as well. This leg is pretty much totally undefined at the moment, so we're just gonna give it a little bit of a calf here. All right, see you later, LV. Thank you for joining us. And yeah, feel free to tune in later and check out the rest of the stream. Glad you've found this one enjoyable. Yeah, another important thing to note here is, like, even though I've established a lot of these details over here with, sort of a smaller brush, I'm still like able to go in and, with a larger or textured brush and make some adjustments to how it's going to look, at this scale. I'm not worried about, messing up any of those tiny details I already created there, because, what really matters is how it looks from this distance. Sort of just being very loose about it. And that's going to create a result that looks loose, that looks, it's a bit easier for the eye to process. And notice kind of the more, you know, general the more specificity I create around the focal area, the more everything else just kind of seems to make sense. You know, I'm not even really putting too much time or effort into creating those other details, but you know, when you pick one area and develop it strongly, everything else just tends to sort of fall into place. Actually, I want to create a bit more saturation just generally around the middle, because I've created a lot of strong color around the edges, but it's sort of overpowering a little bit. So I'm going to actually copy and paste this whole layer, bump up this saturation, and then I'm going to use a mask layer with a large soft round. I'm going to just paint away those areas where I don't want such strong color. And now I have some stronger saturation around my focal area. I think maybe I even want to bring up the midtones a little bit. Maybe increase our highlight range, just so this is really popping out. And then we can see the difference here. Then I'm just going to merge this down. We can go in later and sort of adjust those, you know, create a bit more nuance there. Will I show my other dragon sculptures too. Maybe take pictures sometimes and share in the chat. You know, sure. I will. I can share those. I'll post those on the Discord channel at some point. You guys can check those out. By the way, if you're not on there already, you can. There's a link to join in the description. It's a lot of fun. We just kind of talk about art and share art and talk about tips and tricks and all that fun stuff. So anybody is welcome to join and chat a little bit. And I'm in there and around to give feedback and that kind of stuff when I can. Oh yeah, look at that. See how when I dialed up this sort of ambient blue light, really solidifies this contrast really nicely. Ah, oh, that's awesome. I don't want to overdo it here, but I think we'll get a nice result from all this. Oh yeah. I'm just going to dial that back just a little bit. Whoops. It's the mixer brush. We don't want to do that. Just lower that value just a touch, so it's not competing too much with our highlights on the other side. And I just want to kind of correct this shape a little bit too. Awesome. All right, so we can create a little bit of a highlight pattern here where that light is catching these scales. Maybe a little bit up here as well. Maybe even a touch at the top of that. Maybe not. This leg, I don't think it's actually going to be catching too much light here, unless we raise it up a little bit, but even then it's going to be mostly in shadow. And we really don't have to do much more over there. We can smooth out these egg shapes a little bit. All right. What do we got? We got an hour and 22 minutes in here. This is looking pretty good. There was a shadow here. I just wanted to solidify. And then, all right, let's move on to our foreground a bit here. Actually, just want to sort of reinforce that tail shape first. All right, let's keep following it along here. You can see the tail starts to come into the foreground a little bit. And actually what we can do is we can lighten our shadow values a little bit. I know it seems counterintuitive at first, but then we can take our color balance, push our shadows just a little bit into the blue and the cyan. And that's going to help us create a little bit of distance there. So when we come in with some, actually, I don't know if I like that. We can do we can create a similar effect with just a bit of blue atmosphere here. Oh, there it is. Just go in like that. Not quite that much cyan there. Sort of go in and create a little bit of atmospheric depth there. That'll really give a nice sense of scale. We don't want to overdo it too much here, but I think that'll be sufficient. We can always, I've put this on a separate layer, by the way, so we can always drop that opacity a little bit if we don't want it to be so extreme. And let's just create a new layer for our foreground here. Use some darker values. Immediately that's going to read as just a bit closer. Hey there, Inez. Welcome. Hey, Nick. Welcome, guys. Skeletons or shields or corpses or treasure nearby, you know? I hadn't thought of it. That's why we need you here, Nick. To give us those those ideas. We'll see. We'll see if we can work that in somehow. Of course, I don't want to create too many distracting elements here. You know, I want to have a nice sharp focus for this painting, and you know, I want to think about what it's about. And you know, at the moment, it's about this dragon being a bit defensive about her eggs. Maybe I'll just stick with more of a silhouette for this area. You know, I talk about this a lot, but you know, I want to kind of simplify my design choices to light on dark or dark on light. And in this case, I think dark on light is going to work a bit better for us, with you know some hints at you know, some ambient illumination here over on the side. But ultimately, I want to keep this pretty distraction free over here. And then I guess we were gonna have a little person here, right? A little weakling trying to steal an egg. How are we gonna put them? Maybe a little closer here, so they're not aligned right with that tail. We're just hanging out down here, trying to... This is kind of like almost, it's like Bilbo and Smaug, you know? We got a little guy trying to steal something big here. Maybe they've got a little sword or something. It's not gonna do much. It's not gonna help you, buddy. There we go. All ready to get eaten. You can tell who I'm rooting for in this situation, of course. Kind of want to do a similar thing that we did with the sort of ambient blue over there, and do it with the light side as well. Create some nice some nice haze. We can actually have this tail coming around and sort of just pointing at this character, which is a nice, nice design element. I think originally I was going to have this tail sort of sweeping up and around. I think I'm seeing now there are a lot of areas I can sort of simplifying and clarify here. I think I'm going to return to that head just because it's a little bit overly complex, I think, for what we want to do. It's just not quite reading as I would like it to be at this distance, so we're going to return to that before we wrap this one up. I guess these wings could use a little bit more development as well. Maybe sort of fade them out a little bit over here. Maybe actually overall we can just, you know, I don't know if this, maybe we can set this on overlay or something. Because I feel like we sort of lost something about our value structure when we added that in. I like the color, but well, for now, let's just continue with that theme. Let's go over here and just blot out this wing. That's kind of cool. A little bit of kind of we can actually go back in with our linear dodge brush as well, on a linear dodge layer, and maybe play up some of these highlights a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. losing a little bit of our detail, but these are on separate layers, so if we decide not to go in that direction later on, we can reverse that decision. Anyway, let's get back to our foreground, and this little dude here who's about to get his ass whooped over here. Let's just do a little bit of sculpting of this foreground here. And we can show a little bit of ambient light coming in here. We can throw in a little bit of unique color here, a little bit of purple or something, just to give him something interesting to work with. Oh man. Lowered the opacity on layer 5. Yeah, you might be right. It's a little overbearing. Maybe increase the saturation. So I think what I was missing is some of those deep blues in the shadows. So we can increase that saturation, lower the opacity. There, how's that look? Nice. All right. Last orders of business here. I think I would like to let's do something crazy. Let's merge all this together. Do a little color balance here. See if I can get that. Oh no, that's not gonna work. I think I understand. I think I know what's going on here. Alright, let's try something. New layer. Soft round. Set to deep orange. Let's put this on. Let's try overlay. That's not quite doing it for me. Maybe, oh, I could do linear dodge. Let's try that. But we'll set it to linear dodge. We'll put it on a really dark color because I really just want to bring up those sort of red oranges around here. And then elsewhere, I'll do the same with the blue. Maybe just over here, where that light's coming in. It's giving us a bit more of a stronger color palette to work with here. And then let's go back into our, just gonna create another layer here. Let's call that layer B. And I just want to solidify some things about this expression. Some highlights maybe. Hey, see you later, Viera. Thanks for joining. And thank you for the reminder to save. I have not done that once here. Oh, man. You'd think I would learn at this point. All right, here we go. Save. Art videos, live streams, PSDs. Look at this folder organization here. This is 38. Awesome. And it crashes. Ah, man. Alright. Do a couple little more details here. And then we can call this one done. I haven't flipped this upside down yet. Let's see how that looks. Nice. I think I want to have a little horn coming up here. That's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. Got our epic background music here for the last few strokes. Maybe I don't know if any of this has been remotely helpful. I think that looks a lot worse. Alright, maybe we are done here. Are there elements of this that I can keep? Yeah, it's probably... I can keep that. I can keep that little horn there. Yeah, man, I don't know. Sometimes you're just making it worse. So let's call it for now. Maybe I'll come back to this one and you know, do some more. Let's get rid of all that stuff. That was kind of pointless. Awesome. Well, this has been fun. It's good Easter dragon egg live stream thing. You know, maybe I'll dive in, maybe do a bit more detail, and post the results on my Instagram channel. If you haven't checked that out, that's in the link below as well, or the link is in the description below, as well as links for this brush pack and my mentorship program and my website and the Discord channel. Those are all there. And of course, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hope you've enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a great Sunday. Happy Easter. Hope you find some eggs. I don't know. I'll catch you all next time.